We look to the stars for alien life. We imagine beings from other worlds. But sometimes, the strangest life is not out there. It is right here. It hides in places we thought were empty, places we called dead. The Great Salt Lake in America is one such place. It stretches wide under a vast sky. From a distance, the lake looks still and silent. The salt is so strong it can feel like a desert made of water. We always look to the stars for alien life, but we should have been looking at our own dead seas. In March 2026, something impossible was pulled from the toxic, salt-crusted waters of the Great Salt Lake. It's translucent, it defies the laws of biology, and it shouldn't exist. In the stark brightness of this place, a mystery began to unfold. Something has been found deep within the salty water. It is not large, it is not loud, but its existence challenges what we thought we knew about the limits of life. The story begins not with a spaceship, but with a quiet journey into one of our planet's most extreme environments. The water itself is a paradox. It looks beautiful, reflecting the sky like a perfect mirror, but to touch it is to feel the sting of its high salt content. Most living cells would shrivel and die here. The salt pulls the water right out of them. For decades, we knew of only a few hardy creatures that could call this lake home. Tiny brine shrimp, swarms of brine flies. But now, it seems they are not alone. Something else has been lurking in the salty depths, unseen until now. This new creature, as the stories go, is like nothing seen before. It is a ghost in the water, a translucent, almost invisible being. It moves with a slow, undulating rhythm, like a ribbon drifting in the current. Under the light of a laboratory lamp, it is said to have a faint, ethereal glow. This strange appearance, combined with its mysterious origins, has earned it a name in online forums and whispered conversations: the Great Salt Lake Enigma. The word enigma means a puzzle, a mystery, and this creature certainly is one. Scientists were baffled. How could something so delicate survive in water many times saltier than the ocean? A biological contradiction, a living phantom in a chemical wasteland. But we must be clear. Two stories are unfolding. 1. The dramatic online tale. A ghostly creature, translucent, sometimes called Halucentia Selena. The name sounds scientific, but feeds a growing legend. The legend claims its DNA matches nothing on Earth, that it might be ancient, a survivor of a prehistoric sea. The other story, careful, methodical science. Smaller in scale, but just as wonderful. A real, newly discovered animal. A microscopic roundworm. Diplolaimelloides, Wabi. The first of its kind in the lake's main body. It lives on and around strange rocky mounds called microbiolites. Mounds built by communities of microbes. The worm is not a ghostly glowing sheet. It's a tiny, simple worm, invisible to the naked eye. But its discovery is monumental. It adds a new branch to the lake's tree of life, joining the famous brine shrimp, brine flies. The name Wabi was chosen to honor the Northwestern Band of the Shoshone Nation, the indigenous people whose ancestral lands include the lake. Wabi means worm in Shoshone. The name links new science to ancient human history. So while online tales paint a large, mysterious creature, the reality is a tiny worm with a big story. How can anything survive in a place like the Great Salt Lake? The answer lies in adaptation. In places with high salt, the challenge is always about water. Salt naturally draws water towards it. For a living cell, this means all its internal moisture is constantly being pulled out. To survive, an organism must find a way to keep its water inside, or balance the salt outside. Brine shrimp produce protective cysts and manage salt with special glands. Where did this tiny worm come from? This question has sparked two major ideas among scientists. The first is the Ancient Relic Hypothesis. Diplolaimelloides wabi might not be a newcomer. It could be an extremely old species, a living fossil hiding in the lake for millions of years. Long ago, vast inland seas covered what is now dry land. One of these was Lake Bonneville, the prehistoric ancestor of the Great Salt Lake. Over millennia, Lake Bonneville slowly shrank. The water grew saltier as it evaporated. Most life would have perished, but some organisms may have survived, trapped in remaining salty pools, adapting generation by generation. If true, the worm could be endemic, found nowhere else on Earth. A direct descendant of a lost world. A biological time capsule. Its DNA would hold a record of ancient evolutionary history. Studying its genetics could show how life adapts to slow, dramatic environmental change, like finding a living page from a lost history book. Proving this is difficult. Scientists must search for related species in other parts of the world. No close relatives would strengthen the isolation hypothesis. Online stories have latched on, exaggerating to claim the creature is from dinosaur times. The second major idea about the worm's origin is the feathered traveler hypothesis. This theory offers a very different picture. It suggests the worm is not an ancient relic, but a recent arrival. It might have traveled to the Great Salt Lake from far away. But how could a microscopic worm cross continents or oceans? The answer is by air. Not by flying itself, but by hitching a ride on an animal, a bird. The Great Salt Lake is a critical stop for millions of migratory birds every year. These birds travel incredible distances, some from as far as South America. Tiny organisms can get caught in feathers during those travels. Microscopic eggs, adult worms, trapped in mud clinging to a bird's feet or legs. When a bird lands to rest and feed, the hitchhikers can be washed off. If the lake suits them, they can establish a new population. This process, zoochory, is a well-documented way small, non-mobile species spread. The hypothesis fits the lake's role as a global crossroads. Collect samples from saline lakes along major flyways, especially in South America. Then compare the DNA. Finding a very close relative elsewhere would strongly support the feathered traveler hypothesis. The discovery of this worm comes at a critical time for the Great Salt Lake. The lake is in trouble. For years, more water has been diverted from the rivers that feed it than flows into it, combined with a changing climate and prolonged drought. As the water disappears, vast expanses of the lakebed are exposed. The lake is shrinking before our very eyes. As volume drops, salinity rises. For many organisms, this is a death sentence. But for a creature already adapted to high salinity, it might be an opportunity. The changing chemistry could favor these extremophiles, allowing their populations to grow while others decline. Increased sightings might mean their numbers are growing. This is where the line between fact and fiction blurs again. The dramatic image of a translucent monster is fictional, but the underlying idea has a grain of scientific truth. Environmental changes can cause shifts in native species. The discovery of Diplolaimelloides Wabi and the study of how it responds to rising salinity gives scientists a vital tool. It helps them measure the health of the lake, a tiny barometer for a massive and complex ecosystem that is under immense stress from human activity and climate change. In the end, the story of life in the Great Salt Lake is both simpler and more wondrous than the legends of a ghostly enigma. Stay wild, stay curious.